How's it going, everybody? And welcome back to another episode of the All Things Liverpool podcast. It's me, Anish, Dogra, and after a 2-week break, following the international period, we are back with proper football. And my God, have I missed it? And I'm sure all of you have as well. Don't get me wrong. It's always nice to see England play, and it was great to see them get 2 wins. But it means nothing, doesn't it? Nothing really comes from it other than a few good performances. And yeah, so now we're back with Premier League football. Champions League football will be back next week. FA Cup, of course, and so many games thick and fast. And of course, we will be talking about that in a bit more detail later on. So let's just get right into it, and we'll start with the Watford game tomorrow afternoon. So great opportunity for us, on the back of what's been an unbelievable period for the club, winning pretty much every single week. Albeit sometimes not convincingly, but like any good title challenging team, getting the job done no matter how, no matter what way, relying on individual pieces of brilliance or some excellent goalkeeping, and just seeing it through. And the last two games against Nottingham Forest and Arsenal, we didn't play particularly well. If Nottingham Forest had even half the quality of a Premier League team, they would have probably won that cup tie. But that's why they're in the Championship, because they're not obviously the best team in the world. And again against Arsenal, a very good team, but with the chances they had, and of course, with some of the inexperience the younger players still have, they are fantastic, don't get me wrong, and I think they will be world class in a few years. But that lack of, experience or, coolness in the tough situation kind of cost them a little bit. That's why they missed their chances. And again, because of how ruthless we are, and because of the quality that we have up front, we'll always find a way to win games. So coming into this game against Watford, Roy Hodgson obviously back at Anfield. I'm gonna I feel like I'll talk about him a little bit more as well. So yeah, a difficult game against Watford. They still got a lot to play for. I'm not sure how far off they are from relegation, but they're still within a fighting chance. Roy has done a good job since coming in. I think he's steadied the ship. They look, a lot tougher to beat. Don't really score that often, but they do have some individual brilliance. Like with Dennis, Josh King, a couple of players there like that. So they do have a bit of a goal threat. And Roy knows what he's doing. Albeit he had some tough periods of his career, like with Liverpool and like with England. In the main, I think he's had a very successful career. And you don't be 74 years old without having still some tactical nous in the Premier League. So tough game I'm expecting, but with these players and with Jurgen Klopp and back at Anfield, of course, it's been a couple of weeks since we last played there. It's going to be a great atmosphere, and the opportunity as well to go top of the Premier League, something that we've not done. I can't remember the last time we were top of the Premier League. I don't think ever, in fact, this season. Maybe like in the early weeks in September or October, where the league, the positioning of the league didn't really matter. But the fact that we can go top of the table at the point of a season where it's now crucial. It doesn't matter how well you play. It doesn't matter if you're winning 4 or 5-0. All it matters is that you're winning 1-0 every single week at the bare minimum, of course, and just grinding results. Because you can play well. Everyone wants to see their team play well, but if you play well and don't end up winning anything, then you'll look at the season as a failure. But if you play like crap over the next 10 games, 15 games, however many are left, and you win as many as you can, maybe win all of them, you'll end up winning everything, and fans will remember that for the rest of their lives. So going into the game tomorrow, of course, we got a couple of injury problems go into the game. Trent Alexander-Arnold, of course, I think is the major one. He's still recovering from a hamstring injury that ruled him out of the. I think he ruled him out of the Arsenal game and definitely the Nottingham Forest game. And of course, he's had these last couple of weeks to recover. So, from what Jurgen Klopp said in his conference earlier today, there is a chance that he could feature. So, brilliant 4D chess by Jurgen Klopp, not to send him to England, give him 2 weeks off, a much needed break. Now he'll be, fresh and ready and, and fully charged for the rest of the campaign. So, well done, Jurgen. But yeah, Trent is a possibility for tomorrow. I think Klopp said he can feature. He's been involved in some parts of training since Wednesday, and I think he's been involved with the squad today. So I expect him to make the bench at least. Whether Klopp wants to risk him and put him in the starting 11, we'll see. Personally, if it was up to me, I would put him in the 11 because as good as Joe Gomez is, and I do like him, he's a solid right back. He's got a lot of pace. He's not Trent Alexander-Arnold, and no one is Trent Alexander-Arnold. If we were ever to try and find a replacement, you couldn't. You can only probably argue that maybe Reece James. I think he's the only one who I can compare to Trent in terms of the quality going forward, in terms of the type of assists they produce, and even the goals they score. So not having Trent is a massive loss for us, and it makes our team far weaker. No disrespect again to Gomez, but Trent's just on another level. So I would play him tomorrow, rest him in the midweek game. I think we've got Benfica in the Champions League. So with all due respect to Portuguese opposition, I think Porto are the champions. They were the champions last year, and we absolutely trounced them home and away, and we basically have done every single season. So I think Benfica is a good draw, a good chance for Gomez to play again at right back. And give Trent a midweek rest, ahead of obviously the biggest game of. I think everyone's been talking about it now. No point hiding it. We're now 9 days away from the Manchester City game at the Etihad. A win will take us top. Providing after this weekend we win tomorrow, and they also win against Burnley. So obviously, a brilliant game, and hopefully one that will see us go top of the table. I would have Trent back in for that one, have the rest in Benfica, and then play tomorrow. The other injury note as well, of course, is Naby Keita. Water is wet. what more can you say? He's an unbelievable player. I absolutely love him to bits. I think he's a really, really good talent. He's got so much flair, so much ability, so much skill, but he's made of glass, man. So, we can't rely on him, sadly, tomorrow. But other than that, we have a clean bill of health, which is fantastic. Alisson, of course, goalkeepers almost never get injured, but he came away from Brazil unscathed, which is great. Van Dijk came away, completely fine. I don't know if Konate actually went with France for their games. But he's not involved in it. He's not got any issues. Robertson, I think he had a small problem with Scotland. I think he was ill for the first game, but Klopp's given him the all clear, so he'll start tomorrow, which is great. Fabinho's good. Firmino is good. Salah, Mane, of course, touching on those two quickly. Mane at the World Cup again. He's got the second. He's got the double over Salah in terms of Senegal versus Egypt. Of course, Senegal won the AFCON in January. They won on penalties, and it was the same again on in midweek. So, commiserations to Salah, congratulations to Mane. But that's what it is. And of course, Senegal, they are a fantastic team. They got many better players than Egypt, and what Salah trying to deal with. So well done to them. And of course, Senegal are in the World Cup, which we'll talk about just after this. Jota, of course, is fit, scored again for Portugal in the break, so keeping up his brilliant form this season. Diaz as well, unfortunately for him, for Colombia, they didn't qualify, but he scored as well, I think in the first of their two international games. So all of our forward line coming on the back of either really good individual performances or good results for their country, and it bodes well because you want your players on high confidence. You want them feeling excited and buoyed and coming back with good results for their country. So in the main, good stuff from that. In midfield, of course, you got Henderson who's available. Milner, of course, been retired for a while now. He's an option too. Oxlade-Chamberlain is there as well. Harvey Elliott is there. Curtis Jones, they both did well for the under-21s. So a lot of good options tomorrow, and we need it, of course. With so many games coming up, which obviously we'll talk about at the end of this show. We're going to need the full squad, and that's exactly what Jurgen said earlier on today. We're going to need a lot of rotation, a lot of changes. We've got to keep all of our players as fit as possible, as fresh as possible, because at the end of the season we could be. I don't think it's an understatement, and I don't think many could argue we could become the greatest team in football history. I'm going to say it right now. I still don't think it will happen. I do think we still could lose out in the Premier League. It's technically still out of our hands, and we do need to go and beat Manchester City, which is much harder done than said. Much easier said than done. And of course, for the FA Cup as well, they'll be keen on, in fact, from their point of view as well, they can secure the treble. They can, emulate Manchester United's 1999 season. They can do the Champions League, Premier League, and FA Cup treble, which is, again, an unbelievable achievement. I know they talk about the domestic clean sweep they had in 2019, I think it was, Community Shield, and then both cups, and then the Premier League. But you would obviously, any fan would obviously pick the Premier League, FA Cup, and Champions League over the domestic quadruple, because the Champions League is the Champions League, isn't it? It's the best trophy in the world at club level. So City as well, they got a lot to play for and a lot to fight for, and again, an unprecedented achievement for them too. So it's going to be a really, really testing month and an exciting month, because as Thiago said earlier, it's the most exciting April he's ever been involved. Of course, with Bayern Munich, in April, the league was basically done. They're usually miles clear off Borussia Dortmund or whoever is in second place by then. And then the German Cup as well, that's technically a formality too. So it's really the Champions League they've got to really fight for. But obviously in England, much tougher standards, much more difficult opposition, and you're not guaranteed 3 points ever. So a really exciting month for us, and hopefully we get off to the perfect start with the 3 points against Watford. And of course, I touched upon it a bit earlier. Victory tomorrow. City play at 3 p.m. So by the time the game ends, which is around 2:45, and Man City kick off, we will technically be top of the table if we win. We'll be 2 points clear. And City, yes, I know Burnley. They're going to Burnley, and I know they're not. They are a poor team. Don't get me wrong. They're 19th or 18th for a reason, because they don't score enough goals, and they've not been as difficult in years gone by to score against. So I expect Man City to win, but they've got that pressure. They've got that pressure knowing, okay, we have to win, otherwise we will be going into that game next week, needing a win. In fact, if Burnley somehow produce a miracle tomorrow, if it flips turns the tables around next week, we could be going, let's say Burnley get a draw, we win tomorrow, we'll be going into that game knowing that we don't need to win. We can come away with a draw, win the rest of our games, and we will be champions because of that. So big pressure on City, but again, as Jurgen Klopp says, and as all Liverpool fans should be thinking, doesn't matter what they do, doesn't matter how many goals they score, how many wins they rack up. It's just about looking after yourself and making sure you win your games, because that's all you can do, really. You can't control other results, you can only control what you do. So hopefully tomorrow we get off to the perfect start, and it doesn't ruin our weekend, because 12:30 kickoffs, they can, it's like going to the casino, putting all your money on red and hoping that it comes off. If it comes off, great, you're on a massive high and you can enjoy the rest of your time there. If it doesn't, your mood is ruined, and in this case, if we don't win tomorrow, your weekend is basically written off. But anyway, that's that. So let's move on to the World Cup reaction, of course. Technically not really related to Liverpool, but it'll be interesting to see how our players fare in the tournament in Qatar. So I'm just going to quickly get up, because I can't remember the top of my head who's playing who. So here we go. So yeah, starting with Group A, it's Qatar, of course, the hosts. Ecuador, Senegal, and Netherlands. So obviously two teams right there where we've got invested interest, with Senegal and Netherlands. So Van Dijk coming up against Mane. I'm sure that'll be that's probably the standout tie in that group. All due respect to Qatar and Ecuador, I don't really know much about them, like how good they are as a footballing nation. Aside from Brazil, Argentina, and Uruguay in South America football, some of the other teams aren't the most prolific, let's say. So I expect Senegal and Netherlands to qualify from that group, and hopefully that match will be a good game, because Senegal do have good individual players up front. Of course, there's Mane, there's Ismail Assar of Watford. There's the striker who plays for Villarreal. I can't quite remember his name, but he's done okay this season. And of course, in defense, they have Koulibaly, Idrissa Gueye in midfield. So there is, a lot of individual quality in the team, and teams who obviously and players obviously play for top clubs in Europe. Edouard Mendy, of course, I shouldn't forget for Chelsea. Top 3 keepers in the world, in my opinion. Maybe even second. I think he's better than Edison and rivals Addison. Maybe I'm a bit biased, but that's my view. So that's Group A. Group B, of course, England. Obviously we'll be hoping to go one further this time. And I think we kind of have to, really, don't we? Because when you get to the semi-finals in 2018 for the World Cup, final of the Euros last year, you gotta keep progressing, right? Because otherwise, if you don't keep on progressing, then what's the point, right? Like you can't waste this talent that we have. And of course, everyone's obviously talking about it. This is probably the most gifted group of players that we have since Gerrard, Beckham, Rooney, Lampard, Rio Ferdinand, that era from 2000 to 2010. It was unbelievably gifted, and it failed. It failed miserably. We never gelled. We never looked like playing well together or stringing good results together. But this England team, they have unbelievable chemistry. It shows how well Gareth Southgate has done. Where let's take Jesse Lingard, for example. Obviously, he's not in the squad right now, but he still could make it. Obviously, with the World Cup being in November, if he moves to a club this summer and plays very well, I think Gareth Southgate will. He wants the reason to put him in because Southgate loves his favourites, of course. But yeah, looking at Jesse Lingard, for example, and Trent Alexander-Arnold, a Liverpudlian and a Mancunian, in years gone by, they would have, just. I wouldn't say they would hate each other, but like they would have treated each other like work colleagues rather than friends. And it's the same, for like the London clubs. You look at Saka and Harry Kane, obviously great relationship there. The England captain, obviously Tottenham striker, Tottenham academy product, and you're looking at the Arsenal product. There's no rivalry whatsoever there. And all throughout the team, it's just great. It's just so much chemistry. There's a big bond between the players, and it's wonderful to see. It's great for us as a nation, seeing our country, come together and doing us proud. So hopefully, yeah, we go one further this time, and we go on to win it, and put the second badge on that shirt, which will be unbelievable. And of course, it's a very nice group for us. Iran, I think they were at the 2018 World Cup. In fact, yeah, they were, because all over Twitter I've been seeing, that meme of the guy with the throw-in, where he, tried to like karate. I mean, like forward flip the way in, and then throw it, and then try and do like a Rory the Lap kind of throw-in. But I think he bottled it right at the end, sadly. So they're in our group, and they were at the World Cup last time around. And then USA, of course, we had in 2010. USA, there will be a okay, I'm not going to say like a formidable challenge, but a decent one. Again, a few Premier League players in there, a few from Europe, of course. There's Weston McKennie, who plays for Juventus, Christian Pulisic, of course, for Chelsea, and I think it's still a good talent. And as we saw with Portugal in Euro 2016, if you don't have to have all you need is like one or two, good individuals or outstanding individuals. And if you're solid everywhere else, you can always nick results and, pick up a point, pick up 3 points. And, USA will be difficult to beat. And then the last group, of course, there's still the playoff going on. So Scotland and Ukraine are still due to meet. Of course, Ukraine had to ask for a postponement because, the dreadful events that are going on in their country, because what Russia are doing, disgraceful scenes. So hopefully they're able to play soon with Scotland, and whoever wins that tie will play Wales, and then between Wales and either one of Scotland and Ukraine will be in our group. So of course, Scotland we had in our group at the Euros last summer, and they were very difficult to beat. I don't think we were at our best, of course. I thought, we were a bit slow with the ball. We weren't really quick with it. We didn't really create many chances. And Scotland, fair play to them. They were difficult to break down. So going into that, if I were to play one of those teams, I'd rather play Wales. Of course, we also came against them at Euro 2016, but I like the way they play, and I think there's more excitement with Wales. Again, no disrespect whatsoever to Scotland. I love Scotland. Obviously they have the greatest left back in the world, and I'm not talking about Tierney. But with Robertson, Tierney of course is a brilliant player, and they've got Scott McTominay, who I still like. I think he's an okay player. They are a solid outfit, but I think Wales they're a bit more exciting to watch. Obviously Bale, I mean, look how incredible he is. Like 30, 32, 33, however old he is. Spanish media, put your heads in the bin because you have absolutely disgraced. You're a disgrace to the man. And he's unreal for Wales. He's still doing it. That free kick against I can't remember who they played, but the game they won, obviously that got them to the playoff final, where if they win, obviously they'll make it to Qatar. I mean, the free kick was ridiculous. Because when you're that close to goal with free kicks, and it's so difficult to firstly get it up and over and in. You can get it up, which is fine, but more often than not, you'll end up putting it in row Z. But for Bale to get that dip and then the accuracy and the power, I mean, you could put two Addisons in goal and, he doesn't save that. It's just quite insane. And then even then, the goal as well, like from open play, absolutely brilliant too. So Bale, of course, old but gold. And, age is just a number, as so many players are proving in this day and age. Ibrahimovic still playing at 40 years old. Benzema single-handedly carrying Real Madrid to the Champions League and La Liga at 34. Lewandowski's in his mid-30s and, was robbed of the Ballon d'Or a couple of months ago. So he's still on fantastic Bale and, a real threat. And, outside of that, they do have some good individual talent. Nico Williams, I think, when he plays for Wales, he's on loan with Fulham from us. I'm always impressed when he starts. Aaron Ramsey, of course, still got some good talent there. Harry Wilson, of course, another player from us. Good, decent outfit there. And I think there's one other Welsh player. He plays for Nottingham Forest. I think Brennan Johnson. I'm very impressed with him. From what I've seen in the FA Cup games, he was unbelievable against Arsenal in the third round. Same again against Leicester, I think, in the fourth or fifth round, and again, really good against us in the quarterfinal. So I think he's a great talent, and I think West Ham will really interested in him in January. So good player there, and again a good team. So I'd love to play Wales again. Of course, we got that win in Euro 2016 over them. That thanks to Daniel Sturridge, he got a late winner, and I think they're just a really good team to watch. But that's enough for our group. Group C, we've got Argentina, Saudi Arabia, Mexico, and Poland. So again, a decent group. I think Saudi Arabia, I can't remember too much of. I'm not sure if they have the last World Cup. Mexico, of course, they're always at the World Cup, and they're always like a decent team. I think they've got that stat, don't they, where they make it to the round of 16 every single time, and then that's it. They have to they don't have to, but they crash out somehow, some way. Even if they're the favorites in that tie, they still end up going out. But Mexico, again, I think they actually won the group for Central America qualifying. So tough opposition for Argentina. And then, of course, Poland, very good outfit. Lewandowski, still one of the best strikers in the world, the best in my opinion. And some good talent elsewhere. Of course, Szczesny in goal, decent, good keeper for Juve. Matty Cash, of course, could have played for England, but fair play to him, and probably the right call to represent Poland, given the amount of unbelievable right backs we have. So good player there, and again another solid outfit. And like again, Portugal in Euro 2016, Poland could do the same. If they're solid everywhere else, they be tough to beat. All they need is put Lewandowski to score one goal, and that will be enough. So good, decent group there. Group D, we got France, and then a playoff game between United Arab Emirates, Dubai. I didn't even know they had a football team, but they have a chance. And then I think it's between Australia and Peru. So one of those three teams. I don't know who's playing who out of that. But Australia usually make the World Cup, don't they? And they're a half decent nation. And then Denmark, of course, it'd be wonderful to see Christian Eriksen at the World Cup. Obviously with all the horrible events that happened last summer, thank God he survived. Now back at Brentford in the Premier League. In fact, that just reminded me, I need to put him in my fantasy team. But he's doing well for Brentford and for Denmark. 2 games, he got called up to the squad, 2 goals, captained the team a couple of days ago in the stadium where the events happened. So absolutely brilliant to see. All of the football community is so happy to see him on his feet, and looking at the guy that was so good at Tottenham. So Denmark again will be a good team, and of course good players elsewhere. Andreas Christensen, Kasper Schmeichel, Thomas Delaney from I think he's at Sevilla now, but was at Dortmund. So good players there. And then Tunisia, I remember they were in our World Cup group in 2018. Again, tough. They were a tough opposition. They proved difficult to beat. And I think we needed a penalty and a set piece goal to win. So again, we'll be. They'll hope to obviously be as difficult as possible to play against. And then of course, Group E, we got Spain, who it looked like they're on their way back. Of course, they had quite a few years of like underwhelming performances at the Euros, at the World Cup, and then they look like they look like they were on their way back again after a good showing in the tournament last year. Got to the semi-finals. I don't think many teams fancied, or many experts and many pundits fancied them to get that far, but did very well and got to a penalty shootout fight against Italy, the eventual winners. And in a penalty shootout, it's always a flip of a coin. You never know which way it will go. But on that occasion, they didn't. They couldn't quite succeed. But now they're looking great again. Of course, they got so much exciting talent coming through. Ansu Fati, of course, from Barcelona. Gavi and Pedri, of course. I think they're going to be. They look like Xavi and Iniesta reincarnated. So they're fantastic. And they'll hopefully, again, like England, hope to go on further and hope to restore more pride to the nation. And then they got Costa Rica or New Zealand in their group, and then of course the big one, Germany, which is I think that's probably the standout group in terms of that standalone fixture. Sorry, Germany again, like Spain, have been on a bit of a downward spiral since 2014. I think Euro 2016. I can't remember how they did. I think they got to the semis or quarterfinals and then went out. But World Cup 2018 was of course disastrous, getting knocked out in the group stages. The man, I think we also remember Manuel Neuer trying to think he's a midfielder when he came out literally to the halfway line to try and tackle a Mexico player, missed the ball, and then they had an empty net one and sent them out of the tournament. And then again, Euro 2020. Again, found it a challenge to qualify out of their group, and then of course in the round of 16, we absolutely okay. I'm not gonna say we battered them because we didn't, but we played very, very well and deserved to beat them in the tournament. So again, they're going through a new era. Obviously, Joachim Löw is no longer the manager. It's been a long time. He's done an unbelievable job, of course. Winning the World Cup. No matter how many tournaments you're managing for a team, if you win a World Cup for your country, you're down as one of the most important figures in the country's history. So of course he's no longer the manager, and they got the old Bayern manager Hansi Flick, who looks like the angriest man in the world pretty much every single week. Even if his team are winning 7-0, he still looks absolutely fuming. But I like him a lot. I think he's a very good coach. I think he's a top manager, and he's getting Germany back to where they usually are. So a great game there. Hopefully one that will be one of the standout matches from the World Cup. And then to finish that group, we've got Japan, who I was pleasantly surprised with what I saw from the 2018 World Cup. I think they got to the quarterfinals, I think. Yeah, or round of 16. So they got out of their group and then they played Belgium. I remember that game was an unbelievable game. They were 2-0 up, and then Romelu Lukaku and Kevin De Bruyne, they turned it around single-handedly for Belgium and won the game 3-2. That was an unbelievable match, and very, very hard a very hard outcome again for Japan. But they'll hope to do better, and it's obviously a tall order when you can only qualify 2 teams from 4, and with Spain and Germany obviously heavy favorites. But you never know. You can always football is there to hope and to dream, and upsets do happen. So we'll see what happens there. Group F, we got Belgium, Canada, Morocco, Croatia. Again, Belgium. I can't be bothered to talk about Belgium. I mean, they're Roberto Martinez. I mean, it's quite bizarre because I remember hearing an opinion from a European football expert. I can't quite remember his name. And the Belgian FA, they adore Roberto Martinez. I'm not quite sure why, but their reasons were because Roberto Martinez is in a team. Like, if you look at Belgium as a country, they're a small nation. If you look at them on a map, they're not particularly big, are they? So not a big country, not many people. You can't produce many top class footballers. And with Roberto Martinez and the work he does behind the scenes about trying to find the next Kevin De Bruyne, the next Vincent Kompany, Romelu Lukaku, Eden Hazard, Thibaut Courtois and Toby Alderweireld, etc., etc. He does a lot of that, and he's trying to find that work. So you can see based on that why they want to keep him, but as a nation, they've underwhelmed. They had their opportunity. They had the golden era when Kompany was top 5 centre backs in the world, when Alderweireld and Vertonghen were top of their games, Hazard as well, Lukaku, and only De Bruyne now is probably the only player in that list who, well, I think Kompany's retired now, hasn't he? But only De Bruyne you could say is the still world class talent in that team. So Belgium, they'll probably get out of their group. They're with Canada, Morocco, and Croatia. In fact, big shout out to Canada. I think this is the first time I've ever seen them in a World Cup, and I think it's the first time in a long, long time that they've made it. So brilliant for them. And again, they've got some individual talent. Of course, Alphonso Davies from Bayern Munich, unbelievable left back. Sorry, so quick and got so much end product. Fantastic. And there's a striker as well, Jonathan David, who I think. I don't know if it's something they say in Canada, but they call him the Canadian R9. Whether that's true or not is another thing. But I've seen it on Twitter, so who knows. But I think he's obviously a good talent. Plays for Lille in France, and very young. I think Arsenal have been linked with him as well. So clearly he's got some talent. And yeah, hopefully Canada do well because it'll be great to see them. And then to finalize that group, they got Morocco as well and Croatia, who, Croatia, again, a bit like Belgium, I think, not underwhelmed. In fact, I think Croatia have done unbelievably well. Again, very small nation, war-torn nation, of course, from when how they formed. But again, done unbelievably well in previous tournaments. And Luka Modric still running the show. I mean, that performance he put in against PSG in the Champions League a couple of weeks ago was, I mean, it's Luka Modric. What more can you say? It was unbelievable. So he's still there. Dejan Lovren, of course, the best centre back in the world. I think he's still playing for Croatia. So good on him, and hopefully they do well. And then Group G, of course, Brazil. I mean, always we always have high hopes for Brazil. Technically I think they are still the outright winners. I'm not sure if Germany are level with them. I think they're on 4 if my memory serves me right. But Brazil, again, always look. You always hope that they can reproduce that form that they used to have, that they played under when they had Ronaldinho and R9 Ronaldo, and of course so many other players. So hopefully, we'll see a better showing from them this time around. And of course, they're again with the Liverpool players in there, Firmino, Fabinho, and Alisson. I'll obviously keep a strong eye out on them and hope they do well. And then in that group, Switzerland, Serbia, and Cameroon. So Switzerland, of course, I think are always a good nation, very tough to beat, hard to break down, and still have some individual quality. Xhaka, as much as I'm not his fan at all, I don't think he's a good player for Arsenal, but he always turns up for Switzerland. Maybe it's a formation, maybe it's the players around him, or maybe he's been asked to play differently, but he's always unbelievable for them. Shaqiri, of course, now playing in America, former Red. He's always got, he can sometimes produce a Messi moment from his left foot. I'm not comparing him to Messi, absolutely not, but he has that quality sometimes. So again, they'll hope that he can do something. And then Cameroon to finalize that group. I can't remember the last time Cameroon were in the World Cup. In fact, I remember them in the 06 World Cup, but we'll see how they do. And then the last one, we got Portugal, Ghana, Uruguay, and South Korea. So Portugal, of course, hopefully they'll want to do better than in the Euros last year. I think they went out at the group stage, didn't they? I think it was Germany and France who qualified from that group. So yeah, Portugal will hope they'll want to have a better showing and restore some pride. Of course, Diogo Jota will hopefully be going into that in really good form. Ronaldo, of course, will be going, and hopefully will be fit for them. Bruno Fernandes, of course, so I think he's had a poor season, but he's still a very good player in my opinion. They got obviously a lot of quality elsewhere in the back. They have Ruben Dias and Joao Cancelo, 2 very good defenders. And elsewhere, Ruben Neves, and I think there's a couple of other youngsters as well. So they'll hope to do well. And then I think the biggest game for me in that one, and for the viewers here who remember the 2010 World Cup, Ghana, Uruguay in the quarterfinals. still breaks my heart. It's still, if I talk about it for too long and if I think about it, it probably will bring a tear to my eye because it was heartbreaking. Ghana had the whole of Africa on their backs and they were so close to winning it. But Luis Suarez, as much as I thank him for the service he gave to Liverpool, I still hate him so much for what he did on that occasion. The handball on the line. So yeah, screw him for that. But he did what he had to do, and if Harry Kane was in that situation, I would have wanted him to have done the same thing. So yeah, Ghana, hopefully they'll want to get their revenge. They'll want to try and qualify probably alongside Portugal, I think, and knock Uruguay out in the process. And then last but very much not least, South Korea, of course. With Heung-min Son, of course, unbelievable player, really, one of the best in the league, best in Europe as well. And again, like so many other nations, they'll try to probably, be hard to beat and then rely on, some individual brilliance from him. But anyway, that's all for the World Cup draw. So I've probably talked about this for quite a while now. Hopefully England go all the way. Hopefully they bring home the trophy and we can actually sing "It's Coming Home" this year. And then to finalize this chat, let's talk about the to finish off with Liverpool. We'll talk about the month coming up. So now we are in April. Of course, Watford tomorrow, and then pretty much games every 3 days. I mean, if I'm just looking at the fixtures quickly, let's just have a look here. So Watford tomorrow, we got Benfica on Tuesday in Portugal. Then obviously the big one against City next Sunday. The return leg against the Portugal team on Wednesday. FA Cup again on Saturday. Tuesday against Man United. Sunday against Everton. And then April 30th, Newcastle away. So for an April, I don't think you could have asked for a more nightmare month. Of course, Manchester City twice. And then okay, Man United and Everton, obviously two teams who are not good. They are, absolutely garbage teams in terms of the quality, but it is still Manchester United and Everton, and they might not have much to cheer about this season. In fact, United don't have anything to cheer about this season. They gotta hope they get top 4 because they'll be screwed otherwise. So whilst as much as they need points, they will love nothing more than for to screw us over in our pursuit of the 20th league title, which will of course draws level with them in all-time history. And again, same with Everton, of course, they've got to try and avoid relegation, but as well, that is a big game for them. And as much as they want to avoid relegation, they also don't want to see Liverpool win another trophy, and they'll have to spend their entire summers in their homes because they couldn't go out. With every Reds fan celebrating for the entire summer. So 2 games there where on paper, on form, on quality and everything involved, we should win, but it's not going to be easy, of course, and they will try as much and as hard as possible to screw us over. And then, of course, Newcastle, which, if you were to ask any fan, really, out of those 3 games, who was Liverpool's toughest, Man United, Everton, or Newcastle, everyone will say Newcastle because they have turned the corner. I'm very happy for them, of course. When I talked about them earlier in a few the early episodes when they had the new owners coming in. I was very, very happy for them. They deserve it. They're a big club, massive fan base, have history. So it's great to see them. They will definitely be in the Premier League next season. And come that game, they could hopefully have a few more players back. They might have Callum Wilson back, who I think is a really, really good striker. Just a bit unlucky that he's always injured. So Maximin too, absolute live wire. I think he's such a talent. If he if he can keep his head, knuckle his head down and really focus on his end product, he could be one of the best players in the world, in my opinion. Sometimes he does a bit too much showboating, and it does screw over Newcastle sometimes, especially when he does it in his own half or when he's 30 yards out from his own goal. So if he can cut that out and not saying get rid of the showboating, but do it in the areas where you can hurt the opposition, i.e. when you're on the attack. So great player there, so Maximin, and they just look a much organized unit. Kieran Trippier, I think, is a brilliant right back, real shrewd addition. He's done very well. Dan Burn, I think, is a quality centre back. He's absolutely massive as well, isn't he? He's 6'5" or something like that. So good player there. And I think Matt Targett as well at left back. He's done a good job since coming in. So much tougher opposition. And the way they're playing under Eddie Howe, they're far more enjoyable to watch, far more difficult to beat, and have a real togetherness. So tough game there, really tough April. But again, if you want to be champions, if you want to win the big trophies, if you want to get over the line and put yourself down in club focal, you gotta, you want to be in these games. You have to win these games and do your absolute best. And if you do, you'll be forever loved in the city. They'll have statues for you. They'll make stands, and songs will be sung, and you'll be in the history books. And these Liverpool players, a lot of them have already done it with the Champions League and the Premier League a couple of years ago. But the new ones, players like Diogo Jota will want to put himself in the history book. Thiago will want to do it. Luis Diaz will want to do it. Kelleher already has done it with the League Cup. But all of these new players, they'll want to get themselves down in the book, and they'll want to do as best they possibly can. But anyway, guys, that is all we've got for today. I hope you will enjoy this episode. We'll be back again sometime next week, where we'll obviously recap the game against Watford, the game against Benfica, and of course, previewing the massive game against Manchester City. But that is all we got for today. Hope you all enjoyed, and we'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.